Well, Drew, hello. How are you today?
I'm fantastic, Dre. How are you?
I am doing marvelously. For starters, we've got a true homie, Drew Creasman, here on the show. That's a joy because, Drew, this amazing thing has happened.
Oh, wow.
With the lack of, the sports that Ryan and I like to bet most commonly, mostly basketball, football, some hockey, some Avalanche hockey.
A little hockey.
But that's really our go-tos. I'll sprinkle in some soccer. We had some fun with the Olympics. What really made us a killing was the home run derby.
Yeah, home run derby was fantastic.
It was amazing. And then this special thing has happened post-Olympics where we somehow are just raking in day after day baseball picks.
That's
and again,
amazing.
We don't really care for baseball.
Well, it's the most. I would think it's the most difficult sport to land. I mean, it's so chaotic.
Think, yeah.
As soon as you think you know what's going to happen in baseball, like that's when it's kind of all summarized in that great scene from Major League where. It's been forever since this guy's given up a home run, and Ricky Vaughn gives up a home run, and the manager is trying to convince him, like, hey. He hadn't hit a home run in over 700 at-bats. He was due, And in baseball, it's either like you're terrible and you're definitely going to strike out in your next at-bat, or you're due to hit a home run.
Yeah, it's a real wacky sport. A lot of our listeners were asking us for more baseball picks. We kind of poo-pooed it, and here we are. 5-1 Monday for Ryan and I.
Wow.
Ryan coming off an 0-3 night on Friday for a 3-0 perfection yesterday.
Wow. So I'm like in the hot seat, but like in
You're
both
in
the
the
good
hot
and
seat.
bad way.
That's
like,
right.
I hope I can keep his heater going, but I'll feel like an epic failure if I can't keep some of that going. We gotta land some of these.
We can't miss on baseball. That's just the deal. I have already resigned myself that when I'm deep into losing money on football come October, November, I'll be thinking back to these days with tremendous joy and nostalgia.
Every baseball win should count twice. Anytime you nail what happens in a baseball game, that should double count.
That's true advice right there. So we'll start with my big three, and then we've got a special game that I've cooked up just for our baseball mastermind, Drew Creasman here. And also, speaking of true homies like you, Drew, shouts to another true homie, AJ Hafley. Big dog birthday today.
Right.
So there you go. Special shout out to him. Let's go to my big three. All right. So Oakland against the White Sox. We've got a good one here. The White Sox have been one of the most inconsistent teams to bet on to score in the first inning.
Yeah.
Even though that offense has been very potent.
Very good, yeah.
Today they get Bassett, and so that should at least – a Nerfy is no run first inning.
Gotcha.
So that should at least go far enough for
I like that.
The inconsistent White Sox offense to stay put. And then the Sox bring on Reynaldo Lopez, who just won outing, but he's doing very well.
Yeah. I like him and Oakland is a good team, but slightly less potent offense as typical.
Exactly.
They get it done with the pitching and the defense. I mean, they've got some guys, but to go for one inning, I like that.
There you go. And also, as much as I maybe poo-pooed baseball, there's nothing better than betting an early run, no-score inning, or an early run, yes-scoring inning. And that's what we're doing in Pittsburgh against the Dodgers. Incredibly low scoring for a Pirates game yesterday.
Yeah.
The Dodgers finally pull through 2-1. They kind of averted danger with bases loaded in the seventh.
Man.
I think they're just going to put it on the Pirates today. We've got David Price taking on Will Crow. Crow not having a great year.
I was going to say who?
Yeah, thank you. Right. Fading the Pirates in a first run in a, early first inning to score is an easy bet. It didn't hit yesterday. It'll hit today against the Dodgers, who of all the offenses to bet on, you feel good about that one.
Yeah, you got to break through. And I like that logic, too, of, they struggled last night and didn't get there until late. A lot of times teams will carry that momentum right over into the next day.
Yeah.
And so I like that. And obviously the Dodgers it's an extraordinary offense. You like them to score in any given inning, really. Yeah,
don't we know it? And then... Oh, we're saying same big three as yesterday. Yes. It's slightly different today. It's slightly different.
Did I copy paste them? That's on me, everybody.
We copy pasted the wrong one. That's okay. You convinced me. I will say,
that's on me.
What confused me was Oakland White Sox, that is one of today's picks. We're going back to that well.
Okay.
Then forget
Dodgers, Pirates.
Pirates, though I do
Get 'em
still
outta
like
here.
that. But more
I do
on that
too.
later. Atlanta, Miami. No run first inning. Now, I don't know how. It seems like every time I go to my betting slips, Sandy Alcantara is once again pitching for the Marlins.
Yeah. And other than getting absolutely waxed by the Rockies last time, he's been fantastic this
He
year.
has been outstanding.
Yeah.
And how do I even pronounce Husker Iona's name?
I think that's right.
I can't pronounce his name. I know he's been phenomenal as well for the Braves. So this is another one where I think we will stay put in the first inning. No runs will be scored. And then my Rockies bet is the Rockies to simply win outright with German Marquez on the mound taking on Matt Stram.
Yeah, the
not
Padres are
scare
inventing me. The San Diego Padres just had to sign Jake Arrieta.
I have the graphic.
Yikes. Yikes.
So they've been hurting for pitching. Of course, the big news of the trade deadline was the Padres were very, very close to landing Max Scherzer, and then that fell out, and
What
he
a
ended up
shame.
going to the Dodgers. And now the Padres have really just been looking for it. They've got a lot of starting pitchers on the IL right now, and so they're just kind of throwing dudes out there and hoping for the best. But both of these next two games for the Padres are going to be iffy. Jake Arrieta is terrible at Coors
That's
Field.
crazy that they would pick up Jake Arrieta.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Well, German on the mound, you are getting such incredible value, minus 115, and you potentially know this already. Let's go. There it is, baby. There it is. No worries at all, my man. No worries at all. Super producer Kale, he's doing his thing. Rockies money line minus 115. Do you know the Rockies are the best team in the majors when it comes to winning as a home favorite?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, they've been one of the best teams in baseball all year at home, and I think since
Right.
the end of May,
Right.
they've just been the
Right.
best team in baseball at home fairly comfortably. And so, you throw in what we were just talking about with the Padres having their issues. They're also like experimenting right now with Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field, which he can still hit just fine, but
But Coors, that's a tricky outfield to be
Yeah.
playing experiments in.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the Rockies offense is just playing with a ton of confidence
Yeah.
at home.
Oh, man, don't
And
you
their
know.
starting pitchers, I think they're third best all season, regardless of home and road, in terms of quality starts.
That's
so you throw
incredible.
a quality start
Right.
at home, you're going to get some offense. Obviously, you're still worried, like we saw last night, the blown save. Rockies have 22 blown saves on the year,
Nuts.
so watch out for that. But
I know. That's what scares me of the money line. That's why it was good to have yesterday's big three. That was just a first 3 inning money line. They
Yeah.
did clear that. They were up like 5-zip in the first
Yeah,
3 yesterday.
yeah.
And then it got real tight. Isn't it crazy, though? Not just the Rockies. Rockies at an 80% clip when they're home favorites. Second best in the majors, the Giants, 35-12, 74.5% clip. Arizona's the third best home favorite. All NL West teams,
how
man.
wild is that? And Arizona is truly terrible.
Oh,
so that's
like trash.
Yeah, like-
hot trash.
Yeah.
And it tells you the book, the 15 times they were like, even this hot garbage team needs to be a favorite. They won 11 of those. That's nuts, man. That's nuts. The book knows
I was
what
going to
it's
say,
doing.
this guys at
Yes.
DraftKings know what's up, I guess. Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah. Austin Novak asking, will the home and road split ever not be a thing for the Rockies?
No, not as long. It will always be a thing for the Rockies as long as the park dimensions are what they are. It's always going to think. Is it going to be this dramatic? No, this is the most dramatic.
Yep.
In fact, not just
Yep.
for the Rockies. This is the most dramatic home-road split in the history of Major League Baseball at this point.
And
So-
you've written in the past, the more drastic that split is, the harder it is for the Rockies to win consistently.
Exactly. And it almost always comes down to experience. It's just very, very difficult for younger and or more inexperienced players to deal with the dramatic change of trying to hit a baseball that moves completely differently in one environment than it does in another. And it's
Like, it's hard enough hitting major league pitchers. You had that factor.
yeah, and then you add in the chaos of one of the worst bullpens in modern history, and that just makes it so that again, like you even saw last night with them blowing it, but then you still got, because they're at home, the bottom half of the inning, and CJ Cron can go up there and walk it off for them, and they don't have to worry about any answer and the bullpen having to go get 3 more outs because the second the ball went over the wall, the game was over.
It's the beauty of home field.
That's the beauty of
no
home, right?
kidding.
You can do that. And so, but it's always going to be a thing. I think there are things they can try to do to address it, including something they appear to be looking at, getting extremely athletic, really good defending outfielders.
I love that idea.
But I also think they've got to bring the fences in a little bit. They've got to make the outfield smaller.
Yeah,
somehow.
not so cavernous, right?
Yeah.
And more interesting, not more interesting than that trend, but a more relevant trend that's happening lately, because the ball switches so greatly. I've been monitoring the Rockies' first game of a homestand coming off a road split.
Yeah.
Until 2 homestands ago, we were seeing almost a 0.8 run difference per game in how many runs the Rockies score on a per game basis, and still a tick up on the first game of every series, which there is a trend, just regardless of home or away. The lower scoring game of a series almost always the first game.
Yeah.
And then things pick up, which makes sense.
Right,
You kind of figure
'cause
out matchups and shit.
It's all adjusting and readjusting
Right.
to environments. Like it's very difficult, I think sometimes. It's probably the hardest thing for a lot of fans to wrap their minds around in baseball. And to be frank, a lot of media people, a lot of players to wrap their minds around, how the ball just moves differently and what kind of approaches do or don't work out there on the road. And it remains an open question. But like you said, the numbers are all there. It's pretty overwhelmingly obvious.
And what's crazy, though, there is kind of a small sample size to this, right? The first homestand game coming off the road.
Yeah.
In fact, only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When I first calculated this, updated the numbers yesterday, it's expanded to 9. Well, 2 homestands ago, they started off and they put up 13.
Right.
I forget who that was. I know I lost money on that.
Right. Right.
And then yesterday, they put up 6.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, with that sample size being so small, now that's been corrected. Now there isn't such a divergence anymore.
Well, and again, I think that comes with the team gaining experience. It's why they've been, in fact, in general, since the All-Star break, I think they're right around 500.
Yep.
They've been playing 500. It's not great. It's nothing to write home about. But it's way better than they were in the first half of the season and what people were expecting. This 100 loss, last place team, and a lot of it's just that they've gained experience. Guys, whether you're talking about Connor Joe or Sam Hilliard or Garrett Hampson, these guys who've never been 162 game starters before. Even Ryan McMahon has never been a 162 game starter until this year. His first year as a full-time starter, we only played 60 ball games, and so
it's like Chuck and no one else.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's the reason why they've been better. Great lately, no, but a lot better.
And I think that's why the perception can be off, and there can be some advantages to be gained on betting the Rockies.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of advantages, we're playing a game. It's inspired by Shark Tank. I picked 9 picks I really like from around the MLB universe. They're not Rockies related because we're saving the Rockies for a dilemma of the day. And you, Drew, will hear my pitches, and you will pick 3 of these 9 to make your big 3.
The other 6 die on the cutting room floor.
Exactly. Let's start with the first. All right. Reds minus 0.5. That means they need to lead by simply 1 run or more within the first 5 innings. What I love here is they're playing the Cubbies. The Cubbies have lost 12 in a row.
Oh, yeah.
Hendricks is on the mound.
Okay, he's good.
He's good. He's a little up and down, but he's been
Yeah.
Reds have Vlad Gutierrez, who's been on fire, only allowed 2 runs or fewer in his last 6 starts with merely 1 exception. So I think the Reds can kind of put it on them, and within the first 5 innings, by the end of the 5th, they'll have a lead of at least 1.
I like that. I like this. I think the Reds are ready to strike in general right now. That offense is loaded with Castellanos and Winker and some of these other guys. And they're seeing the standings too. They're just out of the wild card right now. The Rockies have been taking care of the Padres. In fact, the Rockies have been taking care of the Padres all year, and that's the team that the Reds have got to catch if they want to go to the postseason this year, which I think would be a great story because they get overlooked so often and didn't make a whole bunch of big splashy moves. They just have a really solidly built club. And the Cubs, as you mentioned, have just been awful. They sold off terribly. The Rockies embarrassed them when they came to Coors Field last week.
I mean, the Brewers,
Yeah.
It was like, I bet a Yurfian they were up 6 runs in a half inning.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, my God.
So the Reds, who've got everything to play for and all the talent to go out and make it happen.
Love it.
Yeah.
Nathan Eovaldi, this is a classic chasing my tail. So the Reds very much in consideration for your big three.
I like that
we'll
one a lot.
see what
Yeah.
the rest of the field presents. Nathan Eovaldi, anytime I bet on the over in Ks for this guy, he goes under. Anytime I take the under, he goes over. Set at 6.5. He's a top 35 in the league in Ks per game. They take on the Yankees, and this is a doubleheader. So if I'm not mistaken, those are shorter games, yeah?
Yeah, it's a 7-inning doubleheader.
He's coming off 10 Ks in 7 against the Rays in his last outing.
That's good, and they're good.
Yeah.
And yeah.
In August, he went 6, 8, 7, 9, and 6 Ks.
6, 8, 7,
So he's been
9,
right
6.
there. I don't know how you feel about the Yanks, though.
Yeah, I mean, good hitters. There's some swing and miss in there.
So much swing and miss.
The temptation to maybe cut them off at 5 or 6 solid innings
All right.
and just go to the bullpen if they're up,
That would concern you.
it would concern me. I might stay away. I don't hate it, but I might stay away from that one.
What about a Red Sox money line in this same matchup, the second game of the doubleheader, Eovaldi against Louis Gill?
Okay.
Which I don't know. I remember him kind of being
He's
a
all
highly
right, yeah.
touted prospect, but he's done he's brief outings. this
Yeah.
year.
Wonder how long that bet will be available. If the Yankees are win the first
Right,
game,
because
take it.
Right,
for
yeah.
sure,
The
'cause
first one's going on now.
Yeah, this year's Yankees aren't sweeping a doubleheader.
Love
This year's
this.
Yankees are not
Love
are
this.
sweeping a doubleheader. Just ask our guy John Boy. Like they can't get on a run. They can't get on. They still
they've
might make
been
the
a mess.
postseason, but there's
Right.
no dominating out of these Yankees.
Sox
right
up 3-2, bottom of the 5th. 2 guys on, 1 out in game 1. So
now. I worry about that a little bit.
yeah, okay. Let's go to the second screen. We've got Toronto at Washington. Yes, run first inning. I'm just not an Eric Fetty believer.
Yeah.
So there you go. I'd kind of we could get a run scored, and for the same reason, I'd have Toronto over 2.5 runs within the first 5 innings.
Yeah, I like that. Washington not as dramatic, but also sold off, and so a team that's kind of playing under the obvious bat signal in the sky of we're not
Right.
we're done for the year. Toronto, another one of those teams fighting for a postseason spot. Really fun young team.
Crazy enough.
A couple of all-stars with Bo Bichette and Vlad Jr. So I like that one too. That might be second on my list now after the
Low
Reds
number
pick.
too. You gotta
Yeah.
love 2.5.
Yeah.
And then Detroit, obviously not a great team, but we got Casey Mize on the mound, and they're taking on Dylan Bundy and the Angels. So again, in the first 5 innings, I think the Tigers could be nursing a lead here.
Okay. Yeah. Don't love it. Don't hate it. When you
Mild.
get 2 teams together like that are kind of,
I know,
just
that's-
all kinds of weird stuff can happen.
You ain't wrong. Let's go to the next screen then. I think so. Reds and Toronto over 2.5 are the ones
like
you're leaning
those.
the hardest.
So far, those
love
are
this
my-
so far.
yeah.
Third and final screen. I don't know how you'll feel about this. One of my strategies, again, not a huge baseball guy, got to stick to what I know, is sometimes fading former Rockies pitchers. Well, in Seattle, we have Tyler Anderson actually having a pretty good year.
Yeah.
Taking on the Texas Rangers. All I need, though, from the Rangers is over 3.5 runs today. And that, I want to confirm that is in Texas because that does matter. That's, Mariners very pitcher-friendly, Texas very hitter-friendly.
Yeah.
Over 3.5.
It is in Texas.
Yeah, it's in
Okay.
Texas.
I like that. Like you said, Anderson's been better.
Been great.
The
Been
Rangers don't have the scariest of offenses, and they did just move on from Gallo, but they got a few nice pieces. I'm not in love with it. I'll tell you that much.
Okay,
I'm not
good.
in love with it.
Good. Love that. Giants money line. We talked about Giants as home favorites,
Yeah.
only second to the Rockies. We got Logan Webb taking on Marcus Stroman and the Mets. So it should be a good game
That's a
to
good
kind of
pitching
tune
matchup.
into as a maybe. Shoot, the Nerfy was the play here.
Yeah. You got in San Francisco.
It's in the old sandbox. Yep.
Yeah. A Yurfie would be good there too, but I also do like
Nerfy, no run.
Oh, a
first.
Nerfy.
Yes,
Excuse
yes.
me, a Nerfy. Definitely a Nerfy.
Yeah.
But I do like the Giants to win that ball game. They're basically, there's all these other teams that have built with bringing dudes in and doing all this stuff, and the Mets have kind of had a lot of that juice this year with the new owner,
Right.
and Francisco Lindor, and now they got Javi Baez and doing all these things, but none of it seems to create this run that they want to, and the Giants just keep steadily beating everybody.
They've been incredible.
They've been very, very
They've
good,
been
and really it's all about pitching and stuff. So
Yeah.
people get excited for Javi Baez, but and DeGrom I think is still on the shelf for those guys, and so they're in a weird spot.
Touchy spot.
Yeah.
And I mean, dude, traveling New York,
Yeah.
San Fran's no joke either.
That's tough.
And then it was in my big three yesterday. Today you have the option to put it in your big three. Pirates at Dodgers. We did mention the pitching matchup earlier. It's David Price against some guy neither of us have ever heard
Right.
rocking a 5.3 ERA for the Pirates.
Yeah, I like that one. I like the Dodgers to score in the first run, but in the first inning. But again, with the chaos of baseball, I'd probably lean toward the Giants money line as my third. So
Okay.
I like
Toronto over 2.5 runs in the first 5 innings.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the Reds.
To lead in the first 5 over the Cubs.
Yeah.
And then you are going Giants money line.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal,
Lock
Drew.
it in.
I love the big three we have cooked up
Lock it
together here. I won't
feeling
say
the
it,
pressure
but
now.
I'm feeling very
okay
good
about
things.
it.
Very good things. What you should also feel good about, Drew,
Yeah.
fellow listener, if perchance a fellow listener who is not yet a member at the DraftKings Sportsbook, I highly advise you do. And you, new listener, or rather new bettor on DraftKings Sportsbook, this week get $200 when you bet $1 on any college football market. So yeah, that's easy breezy. Some people think Alabama will win the national championship. I think Clemson will. Who knows? Maybe you want to bet on the Buffs. Ryan said that was a good bet. It doesn't matter.
Going undefeated, he told me.
I've heard that story before. He likes to recycle that one. It doesn't matter what you believe. It's $1 to win 200. Not many better deals than that. I forgot to ask Zach Stevens. I would be remiss if I don't get to ask you. Aside from sports betting, is there what would you say is the category in life where you are able to save the most money, Drew? Whether that is working at DNVR and on T-shirts, or you like to put coupons together when you go to the store.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Who knows? Maybe you like to go to a sandwich stop where they stamp your card every 5 and you get the 6th one for free.
I do enjoy those. I
I
enjoy
love
those.
that. Yeah,
There's
that's
a
my
couple
jam.
of pizza spots where I've got that situation going
That's
on.
a good deal. Yeah,
Those are fantastic.
they're the best.
And not to overly plug like our own sponsors or whatever, but it is legit true. The Hassel Cattle Company when I just order
Great
from
stuff.
them,
Yeah.
like when you take advantage of the promos, I get a lot of ground beef and ground chuck because, like, frankly, like the steaks are steaks. Cost you steak money, and
Yeah,
and I get
that's right.
I get steaks or whatever, but I just load up because they will throw promo after promo at you on the ground beef, ground chuck. We just pack the freezer full of this stuff,
Dude, it's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of ruined us for any other meat.
yeah.
DraftKings Sportsbook has ruined me for any other sports betting.
Yeah.
That's how Drew likes to save money. This is another way to save money. You're a new user. It's a free $200, and they will match your first deposit up to $1,000 in free bets. And yeah, there you go. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. All right, Drew. We almost did the hard part first. Now we get to the dilemma of the day. Yes, dilemma of the day. I always get confused with deal of the week for some reason.
Well, it's the dilemma of the day, deal of the week.
DOTD.
Yeah, it's the abbreviations on in our Slack channel that really trigger my dyslexia, but that's okay. We are going same game parlay mode.
Love it.
And we're just gonna a little crystal ball here to see what will happen in this Rockies-Padres game.
All right.
Rockies will win?
I think the Rockies have this one, yeah.
Yeah, they're home favorites. I gave it out in my big
Matt
three.
Strom is on the hill.
Yeah.
Versus Herman Marquez.
Yes.
Yeah, I like the Rockies to win this baseball game.
Under 12.5? These totals always get inflated crazy at Coors.
So for the first half of the season, I was like 90% nailing the overs and unders. I was taking a bunch of unders because you're fading the public who always think more runs are going to score at Coors Field than end up doing. In any given Rockies home game, I like taking the under, but you're going to get burned by that occasionally. You know it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So as of late, with the way the Rockies offense has been going, the unders have been a lot scarier for me.
Yeah, so yesterday we got right up on it.
Right up to it. And then the bullpen factors in. So if Marquez gives you 7 or 8 and the Rockies offense doesn't go off, which I do think is the most likely outcome, I like that under, but...
Yeah, it is kind of an icky one. And Matt Stram, we've got a lefty on the mound. So you could kind of go back to the well to some of those righty bats that we've been riding like crazy, whether that's Cron's been really good, and then Story and Rogers have been excellent, and then you could always throw Connor Joe.
Can always throw in Connor Joe. 2 home runs on his birthday last night.
That was incredible.
Got to enjoy that from Connor Joe.
Start the game off and then end it.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Cron ended it, but
right.
They needed the one that Joe hit late to keep that lead out, to a cushion apparently they needed. Rogers has been really locked in lately. I know he got hit in the hand and missed a couple of games, and he had a hitting streak going at like 14 games, and I don't know if it got broken. I think it did get broken up in there, but then he came back out, had some hits, so I like Rogers. Cron, I like all those guys. Story has been hot lately.
Yeah. It's been smoking lefties.
Joe, I like it. They've all got to be in the lineup today.
Yeah. Against the lefty, they have to.
They have to be.
Is there anyone you're feeling a hit? These are all just guys to get a hit. We're at plus 600 now. Anyone you're feeling from the Padres side?
Fernando Tatis Jr. is almost a lock to get a hit right now. Guy's ridiculous. Will Myers, if he's in the lineup at Coors Field against the Rockies, is always a great bet to get you a base hit.
But you're not making me feel great about this under anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah, all of a sudden. Now I think Marquez can scatter them, right?
Okay.
Like I think he can work around. Those are the 2 guys that fear me the most right now. Tatis Jr. is just like, I don't even know what you do to get that guy out. You just got to hope he's not playing that day. And then the Myers thing is just long history of him at Coors Field.
There's some dudes who are just like, I remember as a kid, like anytime I went to Coors, Jeff Kent was just obliterated.
Right. Yeah. One of them. Yeah.
Jeez.
Myers
didn't matter. We walked Barry Bonds every time. Jeff Kent was just going yard the entire time.
Right.
God, I hated those guys. Yeah, to some extent, I have more disdain for the Giants than I do the Dodgers.
Yeah. Right.
Because some of those felt a little more bad bloody than anything we've done with the Dodgers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rockies over 2.5 runs. Are you feeling more aggressive, like over 4.5?
Nah, I like over 2.5. I like them to score at least 3 runs in this ball game with the way the offense has been going lately. Like I was saying earlier, I don't dislike the chance for the offense to really blow up, but still ultimately, I mean, they are still a pretty inexperienced club that doesn't always, even last night where it felt like they were really going to go off and they scored their 5 runs early and then they just kind of stayed there.
Yeah. Okay, Drew, that's plus 850. I love it. I'm locking it in. I hope you're locking it in as well.
Boom.
That's going to do it for our show. That's 12 potential picks plus an SGP. I'd say that's a good day's work right there.
Yeah.
Check him out, DNVR Rockies, all the great stuff that they do. Thanks for doing this, my man, and best of luck on all your bets, fellas.